Hello everybody! Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel if you haven't been here before, and if you haven't been here before, please subscribe to be a part of the bilingual family, which is mostly me trying to attempt to speak English. Before we start with the subject of this video, I kind of want to make a quick disclaimer, and that is regarding the uploading schedule. I was going to do 2 videos a week on Wednesday and on Sunday. Unfortunately, I've been really tired and I've just been really busy with a lot of things, and I haven't really gotten the chance to do that, so I'm pre-filming some videos now. This is one that will go up on Thursday instead of Wednesday probably. But yeah, just bear with me, but normally there should be a video on Wednesday and one on Sunday, so 2 videos a week. For this summer vacation, so in July and August. I also want to let you know that I am on a low buy, so there will not be featured like a lot of new products on this channel, and it's mainly gonna be like project hand updates, shop my stash, maybe a little bit more like makeup tutorials, because I don't want to spend money on makeup right now, and I'm also not really in the position to do so, so I'm not going to do that. If you're wondering why the hell it is so incredibly dark, the only thing I can tell you is that today is so incredibly gloomy and dark, and this is probably already way too dark for you guys, so that sucks. So back to the subject of today's video. In today's video, I'm going to show you my best cream blushes. As you might know, I am a huge fan of cream blush, my ride or die to brighten up the face, to elevate it a little bit, to create dimension and give you a natural flush. I'm going to show you guys these blushes in no particular order, so it's not that the first one that I show you is my least favorite one. These are all of the blushes that I love for different reasons. Cream blushes will be linked down below in the description box, so if you want to shop through those links, I really appreciate it. Those are affiliate links, which means that I make a small commission of them. First up, I want to talk about the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. These are the liquid blushes. They have grown on me so much, and I'll tell you why. So I have the color Bliss, and then we have the color Joy, which is a very bright, almost raspberry, strawberry red. Love the packaging, by the way. The reason why I was hesitant at first is because they are extremely pigmented and that kind of threw me off in the beginning, because obviously you have to be really careful with how much you apply, so there is a little bit of a learning curve with these. Once you master the learning curve, these blushes are amazing for the pigmentation, but also for the lightweight feel on the skin. Bliss is a matte formula and Joy is a dewy formula. The dewy formula is a little bit more serum-y, while this one is a little bit more mousse-like. But in terms of finish, like in terms of like texture and how it dries down and how it looks on the face, they're very similar in the sense that they are both very lightweight and also quite long-lasting. Both of these are very long-lasting, and they remind me of a more pigmented version of a cheek tint. These ones remind me of that, but they are more pigmented. But like I said, I absolutely love these. I really am so happy that I have them. I like to use them individually, or I like to mix them as well. So Rare Beauty blushes, beautiful if you're looking for a very pigmented and lightweight liquid formula. Next up, I've talked about this one quite a bit. It's the Fenty Beauty Cream Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Blush, and I want to specifically talk about the shade Rosé Latte. This is the one right here. As you can see, I've used it quite a bit. The color is the most unique kind of, yeah, rosé latte. It's like a rose brown, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I always call it like a bloodish kind of color. So it's, yeah, a bloodish kind of color, but more brown, if that makes sense. Apart from that, I also find this one to be the more pigmented one amongst the line, and I feel like this is also the one that will suit the most complexions in range. I've said this 1,000 times, but I really like an opacity to a blush where it's not like a complete layer of paint that you put on your brush, you know, it's more like a watercolor kind of opacity. In terms of longevity, it's also a blush that lasts quite a long time, especially if you put a little bit of powder on top of it. I can't speak today. But yeah, a beautiful blush, and I mainly love it because of the color, but the formula is also really, really nice. So this is quite a new blush in my collection, but I feel like I really have to add it into my best cream blushes because very quickly I have fallen in love with this blush. And at first I wasn't sure about the color, but now that I have used it more and I'm a little bit more used to this kind of color, I really, really like it. So it's the Eldridge Seamless Skin Enlivening Blush, and specifically the shade Dante's Dream. Mauve, a little bit more pink, a little bit more raspberry, if that makes sense. It's a little bit more, especially in real life. On camera it shows up quite similar, but in real life it's definitely a little bit more raspberry. And this blush, guys, is so incredible. It's pigmented for sure, but then you blend it out and it gets a type of sheerness. It's again a cheek tint. I would say this is again a cheek tint, but more saturated. So it has a lot of pigmentation to it, but when you blend it out, it's beautiful. And the finish on the skin is very unique because it feels like nothing. It's not tacky. Your skin doesn't look greasy or oily or anything like that, but it also doesn't look too dry. So it has a nice in-between of like a very natural finish. And at the same time, like the opacity of this is so beautiful. I absolutely love this. And I also really like the unique color that it is, especially in like my range. But yeah, this is like a new one, but I really wanted to mention it because the formula is very unique in my opinion. And it's also quite lovely to work with. The formula is unique and the shade is absolutely beautiful, so I highly recommend this one as well. The next one that I want to talk about is one that you probably, if you watch my channel quite regularly, you will have guessed. It's the Kosas Color and Light Cream in Tropic Equinox. So this is what it looks like. I accidentally dug my finger into this. I especially like this for the blush because it's really, really creamy. And this is a blush where the longevity isn't necessarily the greatest compared to the other ones, but this is also the most creamy blush out of the ones. So if you're looking for an actual cream blush, this is a very creamy blush. It's a really beautiful like warm toned bronze without being too brown and without being too orange. So it's a really nice in-between shade, and it also just melts, like it melts. You put your finger into this and it melts and it's beautiful. I would recommend applying the blush with either a brush or with your fingers. I wouldn't necessarily recommend picking it up with a sponge because it will not pick up enough product, and it will also make it even more dewy, which might lead to a little bit of a greasy look because this is already so creamy. In terms of finish, this blush is very creamy, like I said, and without the added wetness of a sponge, it looks really, really nice and dewy on your skin, and it gives you that very hydrated look. And it also has that watercolor opacity that I really like. So this is one of my favorite blushes in terms of color and in terms of formula. I love it so much. I also really like Velvet Melon, but I decided to put this one in this video because I like the color just a little bit more than that one. Next up, my favorite orange blush. Tower 28. So this is the Tower 28 Beach Please. This is the Tower 28 Beach Please Golden Hour Luminous Tinted Balm or something like that. And this is beautiful. First of all, I really like the translucent packaging. It makes it so easy to know which blush you're using. The Tower 28 one is definitely a blush that is a little bit of a unique formula because it's a very stiff formula, which is also why I recommend applying this with either your fingers or with a brush. So it's a satin finish, but it's also not like a very luminous satin finish. Sometimes you have a satin finish that is kind of like very satiny like, and it has a little bit of that moisture. Tower 28 blush in Golden Hour is a really nice blush if you're looking for something a little bit more balm-like, if that's the texture that you like, a little bit more than cream or liquid. And also if you're looking for a blush that is also quite long lasting. I would say this is also quite long lasting, and even more than that, it always leaves like a stain. So even when it fades and it gets rid of that like a little bit of tiny sheeniness that it has, it leaves behind a little bit of a stain that is very easy to remove with makeup remover, by the way, or a cleansing balm. They're currently available on Cult Beauty as well. Finally, I'm so happy about that. And I will probably in the future maybe pick up a little bit a shade or two more of these because I really like the formula. Finally, we have one that is a little bit more accessible but also a little bit more affordable, and it's the e.l.f. Putty Blush, and this is a blush that I have had for not that long. It's a putty blush, so it is basically like a cream blush right like this, but it feels quite dry. So it takes a while for it to warm up to your body temperature, and then when you and then when you apply it on your skin, it actually dries down to more of a matte formula. It's a velvety formula in the sense that it's not powdery and it's not drying. So I really like the look of this, and I like it when you have a cream blush, a cream bronzer, a cream highlight, a very hydrated base, you might end up looking a little bit too dewy and almost to the point that you actually look greasy. And when you do that, like I said, you can end up looking a little bit too greasy. And to combat that, I usually use a mixture of textures. So I use a cream bronzer, and then I use a cream blush that is a little bit more on the matte side. I would definitely recommend applying this with a blush. It's a little bit difficult to get your fingers in this. It will work, obviously, but a brush is going to give you a little bit more of a precise application, and also just a much quicker application, I would say. And the formula or the finish of it also looks much better like that. I love the little compact, they're really cheap, and like this one is just so fantastic. It has that velvety finish, it's quite long lasting again. It has a really nice natural finish on the skin, even though it's a little bit more velvety, so it's more of a matte one. This is not going to give you any moisture, but it will balance out any kind of other cream products that you're using. The color I have is Turks and Caicos, I think. Yeah, it's probably my most used blush. I really enjoy this one. I think it's absolutely superb for the price that you pay, and it definitely has a place among all of the more expensive or more high-end cream blushes. Those were my top cream blushes in my collection that I recommend you try if you want to try the world of cream blush. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you want to see in my next video, and I'll probably see you next time, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye! And just like that, we end up on an overexposed note. Peace out.